Let's speak now with Javier Farje. He is a Latin America analyst and joins us from London. Javier, it's good seeing you, sir. I wonder, with Bolivia's, widespread economic challenges, how much of this sharp pivot from the dominance of the Movement for Socialism party, which we know was founded by leftist Evo Morales, to a centrist right runoff reflects pure economic discontent versus a broader ideological shift?
That's a very good question. One of the reasons why the left lost is because of the internal infighting, which has been pretty vicious between Evo Morales, Luis Arce, the outgoing president, and other wings in his party. And what Rodrigo Paz did very cleverly was to, in a way, deliver a speech very similar to what Evo Morales did 20 years ago. You saw him talking about the voice of the voiceless, of those who didn't appear in the opinion polls, which is true. He started with 3% of the opinion and of the votes in the opinion polls when he started his campaigns a month ago. So he's actually appealing, but also it's very possible, according to analysis of different media in Bolivia, that he might have got some votes from the movement towards socialism, MAS, the party that Evo Morales founded more than almost 30 years ago, and that was in power for 20 years. And he's a center right. He's not a far right. Well, I wouldn't say far right, but so extreme right like Jorge Tuto Quiroga, who is the other candidate who came second. So I think he's put together people who would have voted for Evo Morales 20 years ago, and then he has managed to get those votes. But also we mustn't forget that the economic, and it was mentioned in your introduction, the economic consequences of this infighting within the left has affected the Bolivian economy, because in November last year there were blockades of roads organized by Evo Morales, food rotting on the roads, there were shortages of fuel, inflation went up, exports lost $200 million because of these blockades and these shortages of food coming from the agricultural side of Bolivia. People got quite fed up with the whole thing. They got fed up with the internal fights between Luis Arce and Evo Morales. And then this is the result. It is surprising that he actually won ahead of Jorge Quiroga, because he was, as I said to you, low in the opinion polls. But he had managed, according to many analysts in Bolivia, to get the votes that would have gone to Evo Morales had he stood as president.
And it'll also be interesting to see if Bolivia moves away from its role in this Latin American fight against U.S. imperialism. But my question now is that both leading candidates speak of economic reform, some pointing toward free market policies and closer ties with the US and IMF, which is not something Evo Morales would have stood for. But how might the outcome affect foreign investment, particularly in strategic sectors like, say, lithium mining?
Well, yes, that's a good question. Bolivia has a great reserve of gas, of natural gas and oil, but mainly natural gas, which they export to other countries via Brazil. There could be a deal between, that has not been affected by the tariffs that Donald Trump has imposed. Bolivia's economy is quite small, dependent very much on natural resources, like, as I said to you, natural gas, one of the biggest reserves in Latin America, indeed in the world. So for as long as that is not affected by the tariffs, then the new president, assuming that Rodrigo Paz or Tuto Quiroga win, they will be able to make a deal with Trump, because they will have a more friendly relationship with the United States than the current president and what Evo Morales had when he passed. Don't forget that Evo Morales belongs to that period in Latin America where there were many left-wing governments. Hugo Chavez in Venezuela, for example, Rafael Correa in Ecuador, etc., etc. Now, this is a new times in Latin America now, and Latin America is trying to sort of like try to weather the storm that Donald Trump has meant. And these presidents could either Rodrigo Paz or Jorge Quiroga would be able to negotiate in better conditions with Trump than it would have been the case if the left had won. The left had a very, very bad result here, and it will depend very much on where those votes will go in the second round.
All right. Mr. Javier Farje, thank you so much for your time, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.